Hi, welcome back. In this lesson, we'll be talking about OOP, inheritance, and polymorphism. Now, let's take an example of a library. In a library, we have books and CD for loans. And then if we look into the attributes and the method required for the classes, book and CD, we have the following. For the case of books, you have the title, author, ISBN number. On loan, this will be a boolean. The due date, this will be the date time type, and then whether anyone has requested for the book. And then we have methods for the user to request the book, to borrow the book or return the book, and also to display the informations of all the attributes. In the case of CDs, similar, we have the title, but instead of the author, we have the artist. Instead of the ISBN, we have the CD ID. And then you can loan, whether is it on loan or not, true or false, and then the due dates, the genre. We can also set the genre of the CD, then allow the user to borrow, return, and also display all these attributes. Now, I've not included all the necessary getters for the attributes, so they need to be there. Now you can see that there are lots of similarity between the class book and the CD. Hence, if you were to write out the codes for the classes, you realize that there will be a lot of repetitive. How can we minimize these repetitions? We can first try to identify the similarity in the attributes and the methods. The title is common. Either we have the author or the artist, and then whether is it the ISBN or the CD ID, we call that the item ID. And the status, whether is it on loan, and when is the due date. These are common attributes. How about common methods? Common methods like borrowing, returning, and display. Now what we can do is that we can create a parent, or we call a superclass, library item, and the child or the subclasses book and CD can inherit all the attributes and methods from the parents class. Here you see a inheritance UML diagram. You have the parents class with all the attributes and methods, and then you have a particular subclass and also has their attributes and methods, and is a relation relating to the parents class. And then you also have another subclass, also have a different set of attributes and methods inheriting from the parents class. Please note that the arrow points upward from the child or the subclasses towards the parent and the superclass. Now, in the case of our library and we have the library item as the superclass. So these are the common attributes and common methods. I have also included all the getters. Now then we have the subclasses that is inheriting from the parents class. So in this subclass book, we only need to include the attributes that is not already shown in the parents class, like this attribute called is requested, and then it has a method that requests for the book. I will talk a little bit more about this display method. It's slightly different from the display from the parents class. Similarly, for the CD subclass, we have the genre. This is an attribute that's available only in the CD subclass, and also the same display, which will behave slightly differently from the parents display method. Now, inheritance. What is inheritance? A child or subclass inherits all the attributes and methods from the parents superclass. It improves code reusability. You reduce all the duplicate codes, and it also supports code extensibility. We'll deal a little bit more about this when we talk about uh, polymorphism. Now let's look at the Python code for the parent superclass library item. So you have the constructor, and in this constructor itself, you have the three argument: the title, author or artist, and item ID. Then you have some getters, and then you have utility methods like borrowing and returning and display. I'll go through each one of them in detail. When we create the library item, we need to provide three arguments, namely the title, author or artist, and item ID. Okay, so please remember that you need to put self as the first parameter. Now, when we instantiate, when we create item 1 as an instance of this library item object, okay, you need to provide the title, the author, and also the item ID, which is probably the ISBN or any ID. Then we have the assignment, assigning the title, artist, author, item ID to the self dot title, self dot author and artist, and self dot item ID. There are two other attributes: on loan and due date. These are also created together with the object. So we assign the self.onLoan to be false because when we first create the library item object, it has not been loaned out yet. So it is false. And then for the due date, now it doesn't matter because if the on loan status is false, then there shouldn't be any due dates. So you can actually put a string there and says item not on loan. Okay. Now the getters, these are the necessary getters to get the title, get the author artist, get the item ID, get the on loan status, get the due date. So let's say we have item 1 and we use these getters on it. Item 1, we get the title, then we get my book. We can also get the artist, get the item ID, get the on loan status, so it's a false, and then get the due date, item not on loan. How about the utilities method? For borrowing, we will need to set the on loan to true because it has been borrowed. And then how about the due dates? Now the due dates you can take from today plus 3 weeks. So that will be the due dates 3 weeks from now. And in order to deal with the dates, we need to use the datetime module in Python. So using from datetime import asterisk. For returning, you need to set the on loan status to false, and then the due date again set it to item not on loan. So in the case of the item 1, initially it is not on loan. So you call on the method borrowing, and then assuming that the date borrow is 22nd of November 2021, and there is no output when you call on this method borrowing. There's no output. And then when we check on the on loan status using the get on loan, it is true. And then when we check on the get dates, it will show the 23rd of December 2021. So this is exactly 3 weeks after today. And this dates given is not a string, it is a date time type. The other utility method is a display. So remember to give a meaningful label, the title, the author or artist, the item ID on loan, and the due date. And then when we call on the display for this item 1, it will show the information regarding this object item 1.